This morning, new data released by the Federal Department of Labor revealed that nearly 140,000 new individuals had filed for unemployment in Massachusetts last week. All in the last 3 weeks, nearly 470,000 individuals filed new unemployment claims. And to put that number in context, typically in Massachusetts, over the course of the past 6 or 7 months, we would get roughly 7,000 to 10,000 new claims a month. So 470,000 over 3 weeks versus what would have been something more in the vicinity of 10,000 to 20,000, maybe 30,000 new claims over a 3-week period under normal circumstances. These numbers obviously are staggering, and we all know the story behind all of them is about more than just numbers. Between every new claim is a story of economic disruption and hardship caused by the unprecedented impact of this virus. We all know the virus has caused people to lose their jobs, almost all cases through no fault of their own, and has created significant anxiety in households across the Commonwealth and across the country. We know several people have had trouble getting through the website and are frustrated waiting for callbacks. I want you to know that the administration is working this one hard, and we continue to expand our capacity and develop new resources to help people who are filing applications. We're glad the online system that we have has been able to withstand the new volume without crashing. That hasn't been the case in many other states, and that's thanks in large part to the work we did to migrate the system to the cloud a few years ago. But the sheer volume of this new influx means we have to do more, and we know that. The Department of Unemployment Assistance has been working nonstop, and as of today, DUA is paying unemployment compensation to over 250,000 Massachusetts claimants. But given the historic volume of new claims, we know that a large number of people are still working through the application process, which often requires, in some cases, a personal connection from DUA's customer service staff. And we recognize that that is frustrating for people, and in many cases, small mistakes on those applications can prevent a claim from getting processed right away. In a situation where people need to access unemployment benefits quickly, it's crucial that we do what we can to help resolve those issues. And that's why we've aggressively scaled up DUA's customer service staff from around 50 people working in a single call center 3 weeks ago to over 600 people working remotely today. And that team has made over 60,000 calls back to constituents to help them resolve their issues and get their claims and their applications processed. That group is now making over 6,000 calls per day, and that number will continue to trend up as we go forward. DUA customer service staff has been calling claimants basically 7 days a week for the past 3 weeks, and will continue to work through the weekends until everyone receives a call back and gets their issues dealt with. And for the past 19 days, the DUA has hosted daily virtual town halls, both in English and in Spanish, which have now been attended by over 100,000 constituents. They're focused on helping claimants resolve common issues that may appear on applications that are preventing people from successfully completing the process. And in the coming days, the department will launch a new mobile-friendly Spanish-only application to help those who are facing language and technology barriers in the legacy UI online interface. We also know that many people are eagerly awaiting information about the new federal benefits that were included in the CARES Act passed by Congress last month. Since that legislation passed, we call basically every day to try and get guidance from the feds about how they plan to implement those 3 new unemployment benefit programs. And this week we received partial guidance from the federal government on the CARES Act, and we're beginning to distribute benefits to some of those residents. That first program is an additional $600 per week for regular unemployment compensation, which is typically what most people in the system apply for and receive. As of today, all eligible claimants will receive an additional $600 on top of their normal weekly benefit. People applying for new claims or who are already receiving claims do not need to take any action to receive this benefit. And as I mentioned, this only impacts a particular group of applicants. It applies to both to claimants who are currently receiving unemployment and to those who are applying currently. And the benefit is retroactive to March 29th and will continue until the end of July. That's the $600 additional benefit. Right, basically runs for 4 months. End of March, beginning of April, through the end of July. The second program is expanded support for people who have not traditionally been in the unemployment system. People like self-employed workers, folks who are consultants and receive 1099s from those they do work with, and folks who are in the so-called gig economy. For this new program, the DUA is working with a vendor to build a platform to disperse those benefits, and that platform is expected to begin processing claims by the end of this month. That will provide up to 39 weeks of unemployment benefits to these workers who are not filed in, located in, known by the existing unemployment insurance system, and are therefore people we need to build new files for. People interested in applying for this program should check the website at DUA for updates, and we'll communicate with the public when the program is ready to accept applications. The third program is a 13-week extension of benefits for people who have exhausted their previous unemployment benefits. That program's not available yet because the DUA is awaiting federal guidance around how to implement that initiative. Eligible claimants should continue to check for updates, which will be made available as soon as the state receives information from the federal government. I think we know this is frustrating for many, many people here in Massachusetts. People who've lost their job through no fault of their own and are trying hard to access funds that they need to get by. And the new Federal CARES Act, those benefits haven't been able to be made available as quickly as any of us would like. But you have our commitment that we're going to continue to do all we can to get the resources out the door to help workers that are impacted by this unprecedented situation. And we will continue to ping our colleagues at the federal level every day to encourage them to get us the guidance we need to effectively, appropriately, and lawfully implement those new pieces of the law. And we will continue, obviously, to update the public as more information becomes available relative to this situation.